Hello and welcome to the 2026 Glorious Goodwood Preview, brought to you by textbet, the smarter way to place your bets via WhatsApp. Glorious Goodwood is one of the highlights of the flat season. 5 fantastic days of group racing, ultra-competitive handicaps, and some of the biggest betting heats of the summer. And on today's podcast, we're going to preview every day of the festival, discuss the feature races, the major handicaps, and at the end, finish with our best bets for the entire week. Alongside Jordan Hopkins and Martin Dwyer. Martin, come to you first. How are you? Great to see you.
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks, Tom. Really looking forward to Goodwood starting this week. It's always a great festival. I used to really enjoy riding there. It's ultra competitive, great horses taking each other on, and I think it makes it even more special. It's a very unique racetrack, Goodwood. As a jockey, it can be a nightmare. More things can go wrong than go right. So that's what makes it a bit more special, I think.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear that you used to enjoy riding there, because I reckon not every jockey would say the same thing, but you had some pretty good success there on occasion, didn't you?
Yeah, I've won quite a few of the big races. Unlucky in a few other ones. Yeah, it's a great week, Goodwood. It's a bit of a boiling point. It can become really fiercely competitive. But yeah, I had quite a bit of success. Probably one of my best favourite days at the races was when I won the Goodwood Cup on Persian
Mm.
Punch. I mean, the scenes that day. He had his own fan club, didn't he? It was an amazing day. But yeah, I used to really enjoy riding around there.
Yeah, great memories of Persian Punch. Jordan, how are things? You looking forward to this week?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, very much looking forward to it. I think it kind of epitomizes the how kind of interesting the British racing calendar can be with our depth of racetracks, and Goodwood is probably the strangest of the Group One tracks, I think, in a sense, and obviously tends to throw up lots of hard luck stories, which makes it more interesting for the viewer and the punter. So, yeah, very much looking forward to it, and yeah, pleased to be on here again for TextBet.
Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, let's crack on with day one. It is Tuesday, and the big race, the group race of the afternoon, is the Ultra Cup Goodwood Cup. It's now a Group One, of course, over 2 miles, and a real mouth-watering Group One to start off with, because Scandinavia is taking on Trawlerman, the 1-2 from the Gold Cup at Ascot. Also in there, Rahib, Amelot, Lazy Griff, French Master, Illinois, and Missile Peel. Jordan, I'll come to you first of all for this race. Apart from anything else, we've got every horse we really wanted turning up, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a proper race, isn't it? Obviously, you've got last year's winner, Scandinavia, I mean, it's probably one of the best Ascot Gold Cups, at least from a viewing perspective in the final furlong. The noise in the finish in that race. I don't think the decibel chart would have hit that high since maybe Crystal Ocean and Enable in the King George, or perhaps Bide and Palace Pier. But those are the two that I can remember. And in that moment, it was sort of, blimey, you thought your ears were ringing after it. So yeah, it's nice to see those two line up again. I was very much against Rahib in that race because I just couldn't see him staying for love nor money, and he was my sort of. I think I put him up as a play slave for the week instead of a lay. I just couldn't have him. But I think dropping back down to the 2 miles here played much more to his strengths. Obviously, there's no real knock or chink to Scandinavia's armour coming down in trip for this race either, particularly given he's already a winner of it. But I'd expect Rahib's going to be a decent double figure price, and I wouldn't be against having a small wager on him in this race back down in trip.
Yeah, I can see that, and a nice bit of after timing there as well for the old place lay in the Gold Cup at Ascot, blowing those. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I rather agree. I do. I just wonder if he's actually going to stay the 2 miles. I mean, I think. I mean, based on York, you'd think he probably would do, wouldn't you? Yeah, I agree. I think he's got loads of upside. Looking forward to seeing Lazy Griff back up in grade. Now he's got that nice confidence boost as well. Although I don't think he's going to be good enough to beat the principals here, wearing the first time cheek pieces. Martin, do you think it's going to be Scandinavia again?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rematch of Scandinavia and Trawlerman. There wasn't much between them at Royal Ascot, was there? I guess it's going to be the same again, and I think I would edge towards Trawlerman. I think he might get his
Right.
revenge. That was his first run for quite some time, wasn't it? When he ran at Royal Ascot, first run since he ran in October on Champions Day, and he'd had that little bit of a setback. He had the problem with his eyes, didn't he? Quite
Yeah.
funny to see him wearing those goggles at Ascot, like that. What was the footballer called? He wore the big goggles.
Oh, I beg your David, sorry.
Make
Yeah.
a David.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think Trollerman he's surely got to step forward a little bit fitness wise, given that was his first run since October. They run off level weights. I think it's just a great clash between two really top stayers. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll see an improvement from Lazy Griff. He could well run a mighty race, but I can't see it going anywhere other than Trawlerman or Scandinavia, and it's just going to be which side you're on.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you actually on Trawler Man for all the fact that the Scandinavia just seems to do enough, doesn't he? He's one of those horses that just seems to do enough. But at the same time, if that race at Ascot had been over 2 miles, 2 miles one, 2 miles two, 2 miles three, it would have been Trawlerman's. It was only the last few strides that he managed to get up. So I think with that run under his belt, I agree with you, Martin. I think Trawlerman might just represent a little bit of value here. But whatever happens, it looks like a proper race in the making does the Goodwood Cup. Right, let's go to 7 furlongs, shall we? For the specialists over that trip. And the 3 o'clock is the Hong Kong Jockey Club Whirlpool Lennox Stakes. It's a Group 2 and features Lake Forest, a very short price favourite here, over Kirat, Marvel Man, Witness Stand, Rogue Diplomat, and others. Martin, I come straight back to you. I actually thought Lake Forest at Royal Ascot in the Jubilee was a little bit unlucky. Thought he might have finished closer had he not had to avoid a bit of traffic. And I think he's a very worthy favourite back over his best trip. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think Lake Forest was a bit unlucky, and stepping back up to 7 is going to suit him. But I just can't see why Kirat is being overlooked. I suppose now I think he's shortened up a little bit now. I think he's around 4-1 second favourite. But
Yeah.
you sometimes you think, what more does he have to do? He's a Group 1 winner. He won the Sussex Stakes last year. I know he was pacemaker, and they left him alone in front, but he's backed it up since. I thought he was good when he won at York last time. I just think he's going to be too good for him. I think he's a better horse than Lake Forest. He
Okay.
loves to front run. He doesn't have to make the running, I don't think, but he's a Group 1 winner, dropping down into a Group 2, loves the track, and is in great form.
Yeah, as you say, he's unbeaten, isn't he, at Goodwood so far? So, I mean, that alone stands him in very good stead and comes into this off the back of a really good victory. I think you're right. I think he's found his place in the market now, although I did expect them to be a little bit closer, I think, Lake Forest and Kira. I mean, Lake Forest are around about even money. I'd still just about side with Lake Forest, I think. He was so good at Haydock, and then I did think he was unlucky over the shorter trip last time. But I do fear Kirat. I'm not sure, Jordan, in my view, anything else, Marvel Man, Witness Stand, Rogue Diplomat. Put it this way, I think anything else would have to improve a bit to get in the shake-up over those two. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think, to be honest, no disrespect to the field, but it's obviously quite a disappointing lineup, really, taken away from the top two. I mean, it's a Group 2 in all but name. If you said it was a Group 3, nobody's really going to bat an eyelid, are they? But obviously, Lake Forest is a very good horse, and as Martin rightly mentioned, Kirat is probably overpriced at fours. Thought he was value for his win last time when the market was well against him, against Never So Brave and Sabre Strike, who was extremely well backed, backing up quickly after disappointment at Ascot. The only one I would mention Marvel Man. I think they're probably going to go a decent gallop here, in spite of the small field. Witness Stand probably goes forward. He obviously won it last year. Kirat will be handy as much as he doesn't need to lead, but he's going to be on the pace. Marvel Man had to lump a penalty away to Paboris last time at Newcastle. I know Paboris was coming off a long layoff and probably will improve again, and wasn't particularly at his peak then. But I think he's a very good horse and possibly will win a Group 1 himself this year. What Group 1 that will be, I don't know, because it'll probably have to be the Foray, which will be a tough feat against the likes of More Thunder and perhaps some of these. I do think Marvel Man has a race like this in him. He perhaps might need one of the top two to falter to lower their colours, sort of thing. But he's definitely improving, and obviously doesn't have to give away any weight this time. Yeah, I think he's probably a little bit overpriced himself as well.
Yeah, okay, no, fair enough. Let's stick with 7 furlong, shall we? Because we're going to go to the vintage stakes for the 2-year-olds. And Al Hudaybu is the market leader after what was the most remarkable race, wasn't it? On the July course last time out when he beat Abraham Lincoln by a short head in superlative. Hafner isn't too far away in the market, Ryan Ward and O'Brien. Dr. Rascal Pikachu, Undiscovered, Ruler's Control. Now, I'm going to start with this one because I actually really, really fancy Dr. Rascal here. What he did at Ascot for me was really very impressive. It was a decent time, particularly as they went quite slow in the early part of the race. They finished off very strongly. He was far too good under a penalty, beat some exciting horses in behind, including, I thought, a horse who was really impressive on debut himself in Mere Fantasia up at Carlisle. Rising Tiger, they think a lot of him back in second, and Dr. Rascal, I thought, absolutely bolted in, particularly as things didn't go right for him before. He got loose before the race, and then there was some serious trouble behind the stalls because the jockey Kai Fraser got bitten by another horse. So it was all happening, but despite that, he still managed to win really, really well. So I was very taken by Dr. Rascal, and although Al Hudayba has the form in the book, he's got the first time blinkers on, and at this stage of their careers, I can see something improving enough to certainly have a go at him. Whether it be Dr. Rascal, I hope it's going to be him. It might not be, but I think he's got a very good chance of doing so. So he's my fancy each way around about 8 to 1 in that race. Jordan, come to you again for the vintage. Who do you like?
Yeah, like touching on Al Hudayba again, obviously he's extremely talented, but not the most straightforward of individuals. It was amazing he won last time, really. I think more so it's perhaps experience on side in the finish and perhaps the favourite Abraham Lincoln kind of idling a little bit in front. I think if they reopposed again, I think the form would be reversed personally. William Buick got off him, and I remember the interview quite well because he sort of said the most difficult thing with the horse is actually just staying on him. And for well, you wouldn't mind owning him anyway, would you? Regardless, but first time blinkers going on, perhaps a little bit of a chink in his armour, and I'd say this is probably slightly deeper race than Newmarket. Obviously, Pikachu is reopposing; it was third, and Hafner is now the Coolmore representative to take him on after Abraham Lincoln couldn't lower his colours last time. So, I think Hafner won on the same card, didn't he? He was quite
Yeah.
impressive that day in the maiden or novice. To be honest, I think. I might even play two in this. I think Rafe Beckett's is quite overpriced, undiscovered. But I'd agree with Dr. Rascal. I thought he was very impressive at Ascot last time. Ollie Cole actually trained the half sisters to this Miss Rascal. She was, I think she was like fifth in the Queen Mary. They thought a lot of her, and the dam's clearly very capable of throwing a good one. I mean, I think from memory, yeah, Havana Gold, the first video they had out of the mare, Miss Rascal, and now Sotsas, this is the sire of Dr. Rascal. So two very capable stallions, but obviously not the most fashionable. And yes, there's another good one for her. And everything sort of went wrong for him before the race last time, and I think it shows kind of the mentality of the horse to maybe not not lose his race beforehand after his jockey's been bitten and taken off. And I think he was in the stalls for quite a while before as well. So yeah, he was very impressive, and I think he's kind of going to be overlooked in the market to a degree against two kind of proper heavyweights in the industry. He's 11s into 8s generally, I think, but even at 8 to 1, he's probably a little bit of value. And Rafe Beckett's at 10s as well. I'd probably be playing the two of them to smallish stakes.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of value here. I'm glad that you agree with Dr. Askell. Martin, what do you think about the race?
The way I see this race, I think Al Hudayba, he's too good. I think he's a proper horse.
Yeah.
He's the best horse in this race, and he's better than anything that's run, in my opinion. Dr. Rascal, yeah, he could well be anything. But Al Hudayba, he's already won at this. He's won the Superlative last time. He's won 3 from 4. It should be 4 from 4. He ducked out, of course, and lost his jockey at Yarmouth. He's definitely quirky, and he doesn't look an easy ride. But the way he won last time, you watched it. William couldn't pull him up after the line, and he beat Abraham Lincoln. And I know Hafner's improved. He was second to Abraham Lincoln, and he won at Newmarket nicely. The horse he beat in third won a couple of days ago at Chester. But Al Hudayba, I think he's got a lot of class. I think he's going to have to underperform or do something stupid to not win this. They put the blinkers on him. If they straighten him out and there's no issues. When he won last time, he got carried over to the far rail and it probably helped him. But he's got so much ability, this horse. So I think the way I see it is he's better than the rest of them and he wins. You're just betting on whether he doesn't do anything stupid.
Like it. Fair enough. That's confident. It's a confident shout from Mr. Dwyer. Just on that, because it's obviously a 7 furlong race. We just talked about the Lennox as well. Did you find at Goodwood that riding that trip was quite tricky, the 7 furlongs?
Yeah, especially when if there's a large field, it can be a
Mm.
nightmare because the 7 furlongs of Goodwood it's a 7 furlong sprint. It's a very fast 7 furlongs. The first half of it's downhill, and everybody wants to get a good position, and then they quicken again when they turn in. It really is a fast run seven, and yeah, it's not the easiest race. But with a field like this, there's not that many runners, are there? There's only 6 runners, so
Mm.
Williams just going to hopefully just get him in a good position. I just think he'd be too good. He's just going to have to really do something stupid to not win.
Love it. Okay, good. Well, I'm taking you on anyway, despite that very confident selection with Dr. Askell. Right, let's finish off day one by talking about any other bets or any other fancies on the day, and we'll include the first race, the Coral Chesterfield Cup, in there as well. That's the 150 over Oman, 2 furlongs. Big field assembled for this one. Martin, straight back to you. Did you have a view on this one?
Yeah, it's a massively competitive race, isn't it? Really tough handicap. Do you know what? I really like Liberty Lane. I think each way he could be a good bet. He's around 12 to 1. He's won two listed races in the past, and he won one over course and distance last May. Now that form alone stands him in good stead. But he kind of went off the boil a bit, didn't he? He has his form kind of dipped a little bit. But I thought it was a really good run when he was fifth at Sandown with the cheap pieces on
Hmm.
last time. He wasn't beaten far. So he looks to me like a horse that's really coming back to his best. And he's in a handicap on a track he's won at. I just think he's too big a price. He's nicely drawn in stall 4. I think he's too big a price in that race. To me, he looks like a horse that's really coming back to himself.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually at Goodwood working for Racing TV when he won that festival stakes, and I loved the way he did it that day. He's got when he's on his game, he's a pretty good horse, and as you know, he's top rated, top weight, so he's obviously the best horse in the race. Yeah, I think if returning to Goodwood helps, can see him there for sure. Jordan, anything else for you in this race, or indeed any other race on Tuesday?
Yeah, in this race, he's been very well found in the market now, sadly. But Noble Horizon for Ollie Ricks, who's had a really good start to his training career. I thought he was quite smartly bought at the autumn hit sale. I was very keen on him, but only unfortunately had, well, just about half the money that he ended up going for. But really thought he'd improve for gelding, which they obviously did. He was disappointing first time at Lingfield, but he made all at Leicester last time, like and did that in the style of a potential group horse in a handicap. I was only off 84, so it was a bit of a bit of a claim. So he needs to back that up here off £10 higher. But I definitely think he's capable of landing something like this. Sylvester Sousa keeps the ride. He's drawn 8. The horse will go forward again. And he's going to have a lot more pace pressure here, which will be something of an issue. But I almost think he'll thrive in a better race as well. At 5 to 1, I think he's only going to get a little bit shorter anyway. 5 to 1, there's probably not too much juice left in his price, but I do think he'll be going very close and is one of the stronger favourites in handicaps for the week for me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, a pretty strong selection. Okay, finally for Tuesday, lads, best bets. Martin, come straight back to you. Are we going to go with Al Hudayba for your best bet?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be way too good.
Yeah, fair enough. Good, could be a good day for Godolphin with Trawlerman, of course, as well. And Jordan, best bet for you on Tuesday.
I will go with Dr. Rascal purely on price.
Yeah, I'm going Dr. Rascal each way as well, so we're all taking Martin on. That's very good. Right, on to Wednesday, and that is Sussex Stakes Day. So we'll start off with that race, and it's a real barn stonker, isn't it? Bo Echo, Stard, Opera Ballo. We've got the Queen Anne winner in there, and 10 Bob Tony. Zavateri coming back. Eve Johnson Horton's been pretty bullish about that one. And it's got all the makings for a classic. Martin, how much are you looking forward to this one?
Brilliant. This is what Goodwood's all about, isn't it? It's probably the feature race of the week. The 3-year-olds taking on the older horses. It's just mouthwatering, isn't it? What a clash we've got. And yeah, we've got Boeco and Gustard rematching for the third time. Gustard just doesn't have the turn of foot to beat Boeco.
Yeah.
I think he's a top level horse, Gustard. Boeco's too good. He beat him in the Guineas. Of course, he beat him in St James's Palace last time. And I think the only way that they could maybe beat Boeco is with some shenanigans in race tactics. The Coolmore, they've got obviously another couple of runners in the race. So it's an interesting race. Tactically, I'm looking forward to watching it. I think Billy Loughnane will ride Boeco a bit differently this time. He'll probably sit and ride him a bit cold and let the race unfold because he's just got a wicked turn of foot, hasn't he? And I think he's going to be very hard to beat. On paper, it looks like he just wins, but we all know it's not always doesn't always often turn out like that, does it? It's the way the races run. I think Boeco's too good for them. I think Opera Ballo will run a big race. I think, but on a turning track, he's better on a fast turning track. He beat Field of Gold at Sandown, didn't he? And he was set third in the Queen and the Straight Mile at Ascot. But I think he's a better horse. Got a good turn of foot, Opera Ballo. So I think Boeco's got to worry most about Opera Ballo. That's the way I see it. But as you've said, you've got the Queen Anne winner, 10 Bob Tony. Can he do it again? Zavateri returning. And then you've also got Lake Forest. Kirat have been declared to run again.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting, intriguing race.
No, it really is. I mean, I think it's obvious to say this, but if Stard gets too far back like he did at Ascot last time, he's got absolutely no hope because they'll just be gone. I think in this race, it's obviously a faster mile. You need it, as you say, a turn of foot to win it, and I think Stard has one, but it's nowhere near as powerful as Boeco's. I think Opera Ballo is going to make him work. I think he's the one who could possibly get loose on the lead if there's nothing else. I mean, I think there will be other things up there, but Opera Balla has so much early pace, and he's such a keen goer that he almost has to be out in front. And I can see him making Bo Echo work. But I rather agree. I think, how many times have we seen it down the years, Martin? We've seen these races won by horses with a monster turn of foot. And I think Bo Echo falls into that category. So I can see, yeah, Opera Ballo being picked off late and Stard maybe picking up third. I think Ten Bob Tony might run a decent race as well. But yeah, for me, I think it'll be Bo Echo again, to remain unbeaten. I mean, he's been a revelation so far, hasn't he? And I just don't know whether was he at his very best last time? I'm not entirely sure. I think maybe he was committed too soon, a little bit too far from home. I think Billy said that afterwards. So he still managed to win. Yeah, I think he's the one. Jordan, what do you think? Are you going to go in tandem with us with Bo Echo?
I'd love to see him win. I do really hope he wins for firstly for the sport, for story, and two for George Bowie. Really, like he's been so exceptionally well campaigned and trained to the minute for the Guineas one, but then to back it up in the St James's Palace and in such good style was just brilliant to see. And he's obviously a very special horse. I'm going to go with Opera Ballo for a few reasons. He's unbeaten around a bend, and I think like he's took his form to a new level this year. He's obviously not the most straightforward of horses. That kind of held him back in his 3-year-old career. I remember when he ran in the Craven, and I mean, poor James Doyle his arms must have been in pretty decent pain after that because he kind of just pulled them out for the entire race. And he's matured a lot this year. Obviously, as Martin mentioned, he was very impressive when he won at Sandown earlier in the year against Field of Gold. That's obviously a right-handed track like this, and much as they're very different tests. But I thought he was probably the best beaten horse in the Group Ones at Ascot. He was sat on the front end of a hot pace, and that's obviously why Ten Bob Tony was able to close so well from off it. I don't think that was actually that much of a fluke. I think he hadn't ran on quick ground really. I'm not sure if he has at all. He's always been kind of dubbed as a softer ground horse, and perhaps he just improved for the quicker ground. So I'd be more interested to see if Ten Bob Tony can hold his form on better ground going forward, as opposed to whether that was any sort of fluke. But yeah, you mentioned the pace. Like Puerto Rico is obviously going to go forward. The only thing I worry about with Stard for his claims is he's drawn one, and that could get quite tricky. Like there's been lots of hard luck stories in the Sussex down the years of horses getting caught on the inside. Probably Kamiko is probably the one that sticks in your memory the most. But yeah, I think Opera Ballo might be able to just hold off the closers and win by something like a cozy short head or something from Bo Echo. And then perhaps onto the Breeders' Cup Mile at the end of the year. I'd say that'll be the race they'll be working back from.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think we all think possibly Opera Ballo maybe should be second favourite behind Burke, actually, just given the makeup of the race. On to the Molecomb. That's the 5 furlong Group 3 on Wednesday, and it's for the 2-year-olds. Jordan, I'll come straight back to you for this one. To me, it doesn't look the strongest of races, to be honest, this year. I'd give Pashada a chance back at Goodwood. Thought she ran well last time out behind Victorious and the Queen Mary. But for me, it's all about Adonius, who is unbeaten so far, didn't go to Royal Ascot, was last seen winning the Lily Agnes, but he's an absolute bull of a horse. And I think he'll be pretty hard to beat, despite the fact he's stepping up in grade. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree, to be honest. Obviously, Rebecca Menzies was on Luck on Sunday that you very professionally hosted on the weekend, Tom.
Thank you, Jordan.
And she spoke very highly of him. Obviously, she's taken her flat training career to new heights this year, and this horse is kind of obviously the flag bearer. Pashard, I was trying to remember why I remember the name of this horse, but there was a video floating around earlier in the season of somebody that had gone to like a Gallops morning at Richard Hannon's, and he's just sort of just pointed out this horse going past them and just said that won't get beat at Wolverhampton on, I don't know when it was, like a Thursday or something. And I think it did get beat, but it was like a massive, massive eye catcher. And obviously he wasn't wrong because it's now rated 96 and it's favourite for a group race at a big festival. That horse would warrant plenty of respect. But as you say, Adonius, or I think it's Adonius, isn't it?
She said Adonius, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, he's hardly put a foot wrong so far, and it's been worked back from this race, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, fingers crossed he can get the job done for Rebecca and book his ticket at Breeders' Cup at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some decent winners of this over the last few years, Martin. I don't think this, to me at least, seems like the strongest of renewals, but maybe you disagree.
Yeah, I think I do disagree with it. I think Adonius is pretty smart. I think he's a good horse. He won twice at Hamilton And he won the Lily Agnes Stakes at Chester. I was there that day, and you said earlier he's a bull of a horse. He is. He's a fine-looking horse, proper sprinter. And I like the fact that Rebecca's missed Royal Ascot and she comes here fresh and well. He's so fast. I mean, when he won at Chester, he was making all. You're watching it thinking, well, he's going too fast. But he went again. And he beat a horse called Hickory Lad, who went on to win the Woodcock Epsom on Derby Day. And he beat him with a £5 penalty. It was a massive performance. You just go back and watch that Chester win. It really was amazing. They've got a plan with this horse. He's been bought by some American owners, and they're going to go aim for the Breeders' Cup. And I just think he's going to be too fast and he's going to be too good. And a couple of his rivals coming off the back of runs at Ascot, which it does leave its mark a little bit with 2-year-olds when they run at Ascot. I suppose Ruler's Pride was very disappointing, but he got hampered, didn't he? He was so impressive in his first win, and Pashada ran a fine fourth in the Queen Mary. So they've got good form, she's got good form in the book. But Adonis, I think, is just going to be way too quick and too good. I think he should be winning. Can I throw it in each way?
Absolutely.
Brazilian Diva.
Okay.
Or Diego Diaz and Diego Lima, the jockey on board. He didn't kick off his career in the UK great with York, did he? He got banned for his whip. But this horse is very, very quick and was a really good second at Nace in a listed race last time. And I just feel it's a horse that's progressing. And I think the price of 14-1. And again, she's quite well built and well put together. I think she's quite a big price.
Okay. Like the sound of that. Very good. We're going to move on to the Oak Tree, which is the Group 3 over 7 furlongs on the same day at 3 o'clock. There's a few in here trying to bounce back to form. I mean, Flora Bermuda isn't one of those. She was a winner last time out at York. She's got to carry a penalty, though. Saida Darian and Xanthos both looking to rediscover some form. Planet Seeker, Dash of Azure, Royal Velvet, etc. It's a very tricky race, this, I think. My personal view is that if there is going to be a day in which we see Xanthos bounce back, it kind of has to be this day because she's getting weight from a lot of them here. She's got a first-time tongue tie on. Maybe that's going to help. I don't know, but I would say she could rather do with a hood. She tends to race very keenly. But when she raced at Longchamp on her return, she was too keen that day. It was heavy ground behind Diamond Necklace. I didn't think she ran too badly, but I mean, she didn't run at all well at Ascot last time. But I just wonder if that stiff 6 is really what she wants there in a big field like that. She seems quite temperamental. So over the 7 furlongs, she's going to have a slightly smaller field. And if Usheen can get to the front or near the front, then this could be the day I think that we see her performing. But if it's not going to be today or Wednesday, then I think maybe she's not trained on and she's not the 2-year-old going to the 3-year-old season that we thought she might be. But I don't think it's the strongest field in the world and gives her a decent chance. Martin, what do you make of the race? Have you got any views?
Yeah, it's an interesting race. Santos, as you say, she had such good 2-year-old form, didn't she? And she's very quick, but she does herself no favours. She doesn't settle well enough. It doesn't look to me like she's trained on. She's dropping in grade, and as you say, if it's ever going to be a day, it'll be this type of race. But I mean, shouldn't Flora of Bermuda just be too good? She's quite a classy filly. I mean, she's been placed 3 times at Group 1 level over 6 furlongs. Last year, she was never far away in all them big sprints. And she bounced back to form last time, didn't she, with a win at York in a Group 3. That was 19 days ago. And she's gone up to 7 furlongs for the first time. I just think it's really going to find more improvement for her. She's a strong stayer at 6 and an easy 7 around Goodwood. She's a strong traveller, but she's always finishing off her races so well. I think she's already got the form in the book. And I think she'll find a little bit more improvement over the 7. And she's well drawn in 4. And the Oak Tree is a type of race where you need a low draw. You need to be drawn well. It's not an easy race to win when you're drawn wide. I think it's 14 runners. So she's drawn in still 4. She should just be able to track the pace. And it just looks like she should be too good.
Yeah, I mean, I did think she won very well, actually, at York last time out. Jordan, what's your view on the race?
Yeah, obviously the same view. Like you want to be drawn low in this race, really. And Flora Bermuda is obviously a class horse. She has to give away a Group 3 winning penalty for that win last time. And as much as she's nearly she is Group 1 class. Like whether she'll ever be able to get her head in front in one, I'm not sure. But she's nearly done on numerous occasions. And you look through this field and you just think, how many of these would be sub 10-1 in any Group 1? There's not many of them. And the argument we probably neither was she now, but she obviously has been there and done it and bounced back to form last time and has won twice this season. So she's definitely the right favourite, irrespective of the penalty. I just took the view that if you're going to have a bet in this, I'd rather just have a little bit of a flyer. Orion's Belt for Richard Hannon is going to be at least 25 to 1 SP, I'd imagine, maybe bigger. She's been off the track nearly a year. They've always thought quite a lot of this filly. She was very impressive when she won at Newmarket. I think it was on her debut, and she went very close in a Group 3 at Salisbury last year on soft ground behind Anthelia. I think she'll be a better 3-year-old, and I think 7 furlongs probably more of her best trip. She was finishing the season over 6 last year, and they rolled the dice in the Group 1 at Newmarket. So it kind of tells you all you need to know about what they think of her, really. And I think she's well up to winning a listed or Group 3 this year. And I was just sort of thinking, like, I remember seeing a lot. I don't think there's kind of like an awful lot of her. I don't think she should have taken too much getting ready. And sometimes it's best catching Richard Hannon's horses earlier in the season anyway. So I wouldn't be too worried about the layoff. In this day and age, I'd say it's something of a myth that horses will need the run as much as people might think they will. Like, I'm no trainer, but it might be 30, 40 years ago when we haven't got the technology that we do now and facilities. That was much more of a thing. And yeah, look, I'm not saying she's a certainty to win the race or even be placed, but I think she's got a better chance than her odds suggest, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her finishing off well into the money, particularly from a draw next door to Flora Bermuda and some other fancy horses.
Yeah, you make an interesting point, actually, Jordan, to be fair. We're going to just discuss the rest of the card on Wednesday very briefly, if there's anything else anyone fancies, including the opening 150 handicap, which is a decent mile and a half, class 2, 0 to 105. I'll put forward Tierra del Toro for James Doyle and Rafe Beckett. This has obviously been a really tricky horse to train because they gelded him after his second at Newbury back in September of last year. And despite that gelding operation, he still looked tricky in both his 2 starts so far this season, finishing third in the London Gold Cup, which is always a really good point to the rest of the season. And then stepped up to a mile and a half for the first time, which I think he looked like he wanted in the London Gold Cup. He was a bit keen and finished 6 3/4 lengths behind Enceladus in 9th of 19. Again, not a bad run, but I just feel nothing really conspired in his favour last time because of that keenness. And he needs to settle better, but I'm pretty convinced that he's a group horse in the making, Tierra del Toro. So he just needs to put it all together, and I think this is the kind of race that will suit him, particularly a second start over a mile and a half. Jordan, is there anything else that you fancy on Wednesday?
Yeah, just on that race, yeah, I think I might have put up Tierra del Toro. I definitely mentioned him in the Ascot preview that we did. As you say, he's clearly a little bit tricky, and he was possibly a little bit disappointed in that race. I do think that was I think it's probably the hottest handicap of the week, and the form's going to work out really strongly. I quite like Bay Royale in that race. Just like the fact that he's coming here as a fresher horse. Harry Eustace had him in the Irish Derby, I'm pretty sure, at earlier stage, and I know he's always thought a lot of him. Whether he'll kind of be seen to better effect later in the season on rain softened ground is another question, because I think he probably will. But he's 10 or 12 to 1 generally at the moment, I think. Sport's a first time tongue tie, and I just thought he could be better than a mark of 89. And then in the last race, I just wanted to put forward Dylan Kuhner's runner Zarathos. He's really kind of like turned a corner this year. Dylan always felt he would kind of develop to this sort of level, and now he obviously has, and still looks pretty well handicapped. At Epsom, jockey unfortunately dropped the stick quite a long way out, so he pulled well clear with Colombier that reopposes, but probably would have won that race if he'd had a little bit better luck. And then when he ran at the Curragh Irish Derby Day in a handicap, and they were trapping like 39 or 40 mile an hour for the whole race, which is obviously a stiff mile, and he was making most of the running. And I think there was only one horse that really finished properly on the pace that day, and he kind of battled on into 5th, but probably did too much. Probably get a little bit more cover here, and I think he will potentially be a little bit more overlooked in the market than he was at the Curragh when he was well backed into favourite. And I'd be tempted to side with him if he's a reasonable price, 7 to 1 or 8 to 1 or bigger.
Okay, friend of the channel, of course, Dylan Cunha, having come on for the opening episode of the podcast.
Friend of the show.
You're friend of the show, yeah. Is there anything else you fancy on Wednesday at all?
Quite like Bobby Banu in the last race, the 7 furlong handicap. I thought he was just unlucky, got nabbed on the line at Newcastle last time by room service, and he's gone up £3, but he's still capable of winning off this mark. He's won off this mark in the past, and he's just that type of horse that should love it around Goodwood. He's quite a strong traveller, and he sits close to the pace. He's doing well in 5, and I thought it was a really good run last time, and I think it'll just really suit him. That's Bobby Banu for Roger Varian and Les Dawson.
I knew you were going to do that. So good. I was just waiting for it. That's brilliant. I love it.
You know.
Yeah, brilliant. No, I knew that was coming. Right, onto best bets on Wednesday. Straight back to you. Who's your best bet for Wednesday?
I have to go back to my page. Hold on. I think Flora Bermuda in the Oak Tree,
Okay.
stepping up to 7 furlongs. She's third in a couple of group. Well, she's third 3 times at Group One level. Always a fast finishing over 6 furlongs, and she bounced back to form with a good win at York last time.
Yeah, makes sense. Jordan, what about you?
I'll go with Opera Ballo in Sussex.
Okay, like it. I'm going to go Tierra del Toro each way in the opening race. Right, that is Wednesday, done and dusted. Gents, thank you very much. Been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. Hopefully, you got some winners in there as well. A few good selections, I think, put up across the board. And thank you, all of you at home, for joining us for the TextBet Glorious Goodwood preview. And do make sure to keep an eye out on the TextBet socials for all daily boosts and best prices. Huge thanks to both Martin Dwyer and Jordan Hopkins for sharing their insights. And if you have enjoyed this preview, please do subscribe to the TechSpec channel and leave us your best bets in the comments. So from all of us, enjoy the festival and best of luck with your wagers.